Welcome to the NWR Virtual Investor Conference, May 2020. We've got Bellevue Gold on the line. Bellevue Gold is rapidly growing the 2.2 million ounce resource at its Bellevue Gold Project in Western Australia, one of Australia's highest new gold discoveries. Bellevue has a JORC Inferred Resource Estimate of 6.1 million tonnes at 11.3 grams per tonne for 2.2 million ounces of gold. It was previously one of Australia's richest producing gold mines in production from 1987 to 1997. We have Luke Gleeson, the head of corporate development at Bellevue Gold, on the line, as well as Steve Parsons, who is Bellevue's managing director. Steve is an experienced geologist with a proven track record of mineral discoveries, corporate growth, international investor relations, and creating shareholder wealth. He was the founder and managing director of Griffin Minerals that had a major gold discovery in West Africa and which grew to an ASX 200 company. Steve is also a director of ASX-listed African Gold and Blackstone Minerals, and he has advised several other ASX-listed companies. Over to you guys at Bellevue Gold.
Great, thanks very much for the opportunity to present today. I'm Steve Parsons, Managing Director of Bellevue Gold. We're in the Bellevue boardroom today, and I'm here joined with Luke Gleeson, who's just joined us from Northern Star, and Luke's role is corporate development for us, and it's an important role because we've gone from being one of the better gold discoveries that's going on in Australia at the moment to moving towards development and ultimately production over the next couple of years. So it's an exciting time for the company. We got onto our project only at the end of 2017, so only a couple of years ago now, and during that time we've grown the resource from pure discovery to what we are now of 2.2 million ounces of gold at a fairly incredible 11 grams per tonne. And there's some amazing points about the project that I'll be pointing out to you over the next 20 minutes, and Luke will be stepping in to talk through the project as well and some of the exciting things that we're up to over 2020 and into 21 as well. So normal disclaimers that we can read in your own time. So this is a very quick snapshot of the company. As I said, it's very high grade. It's one of the highest grade gold projects going on in Australia at the moment, if not one of the better ones around the world as well. We're fortunate in the fact that we've had rapid resource growth, and we expect that to continue throughout this year and into next year as well as we move the project towards development. The resources are very much open. They're open to the north, they're open to the south. We've just had recent discoveries in the footwall and hanging wall, and of course open at depth as well. So we see this as a big ore body, classic ask, key and lode gold system, and one of the things that we've been doing well is drilling. And so we currently in 2020, if you look at the outlook in the corner there, we have a number of diamond core drill rigs on site drilling. These are focused on further resource growth, so you'll see the resource continuing to grow at the same sort of grade, and you also see the resource moving into the higher confidence level of the indicated category that will be coming out in the next couple of months, and that will be the backbone then for economic mining studies that you'll be seeing coming out this year as well. And on the back of all of that, we are undertaking dewatering on the old historical underground workings, and Luke and I will talk about that a little bit later on, but we see this as a huge advantage in order to get the project into development rapidly and very, very cost effectively as well. We're very fortunate with our project in the fact that it sticks out from surface. We expect to see high-grade open pittable material very early on in the mine, and then moving into an underground scenario. We have excellent gold recoveries, close to over 98% using standard CIL processing, and we're very fortunate in the fact that we have a very high gravity component in extracting that gold as well, and so that'll respond to low costs we expect. And one of the very fortunate things we have is granted mining licenses. So, the rapid rate of knots that we've been going with our discovery, and we expect that discovery to continue growing at a rapid rate of knots. But in order to get into development production, we see having granted mining licenses is key to this as well. And we see, a very rapid, few months and a couple of years ahead of us as we move the project forward. So I'll just hand over to Luke now to say a few things.
Thanks, Steve. Just clicking through, guys, to this slide. I'll touch on a couple of competitive advantages, I think, to bear in mind when Steve's talking, and certainly you'll be able to relate back to them. Steve touched on the fact that this asset has previously been mined, pulling over 800,000 ounces at 15 grams per tonne. It's interesting to note, if we look back over the last couple of years, with new assets coming into production at times, you will see varying performances. The fact that this asset has been mined previously, it's a huge tick and a huge advantage for us. In terms of head grade, at 11.3 grams per tonne in a tier 1 jurisdiction, global gold head grades typically run at around 1 gram. If we look at the combination of what's mined around the world globally, having 11.3 gram ore body in the state of Western Australia is a huge benefit for the project. In terms of size, in the last 24 months, the team, and it's a credit to the team at Bellevue, they've been able to identify 2.2 million ounces in under a 24-month period, which goes to the size and scale, to Steve's point, that the project has in terms of endowment. That will continue to grow and stands testament to the size and the potential of the system here. The mineralisation itself can be targeted through geophysics. Typically with gold deposits, you will target structure. One of the benefits that we've got at the asset is there's a close association to pyrrhotite and gold at the deposit. We have not seen one false anomaly or one false positive at the site every time that we've encountered pyrrhotite through downhole electromagnetic surveys. We've encountered gold, and that's led to a discovery cost of $15 per ounce to date in the project. So complete competitive advantage in terms of our exploration and our strategies around that. 28 kilometres of existing infrastructure. If we look at that in today's dollars, that's close to around a $200 million cost of installing that infrastructure, and it's a huge head start. You're talking to do that with what we've got at Bellevue, you're talking a good sort of a 2-year window to develop that level of underground development in a mine. It's a huge benefit. Historical recoveries at the asset as well. Underground mines are mined obviously through hard rock. Hard rock previous recoveries at the asset have been as high as 97.5%, with 82.5% of that recovery reporting to gravity. So huge cost benefits from a processing perspective at the operation. With a strong cash balance as well, sitting at around $37.8 million. That will allow us over the next 12 months to continue to explore, continue to grow out that resource as we move into the indicated category of due mid-year dewatering and economic mining studies into 20 and 21, which is really positive. Quick little snapshot looking at Western Australian Archean lode gold deposits. That's what we have at Bellevue. This image here shows you 6 other comparisons of those systems, and typically they're big open structures, big deep mantle tapping structures that typically result in mineralisation extending to, if we were to look at Gwalia, for example, down below 1.6 kilometres. Gwalia is a good comparison in terms of grade. Currently we've explored down to 500 metres. Once we do get underground and do more exploration, you'll continue to see that resource grow, as you have seen and as you'll see at Bellevue over time, which is a huge positive. Quick corporate snapshot. We've got really today's share price sitting close to 60 cents. 58% of the register reports to institutions. It's a fantastic achievement. It stands testament to the work that the guys have done on the project. BlackRock came in for close to a 10% position in our last equity raising, and that obviously with BlackRock, Evie Hambro and his team being the world's largest resource fund, is a huge tick of approval for the project. So I'll hand back to Steve to run through the rest of the presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. And so just diving in a little bit more on some of the detail on the project, you know, as we just talked about before, you know, we had the discovery in Christmas 2017, and it wasn't until January 2018 where we started drilling in earnest. So as Luke said, just over 24 months ago, and you can see there that we've had rapid resource growth and consistent resource growth over that time. We expect that to continue. We see no reason why it won't. All the bodies are open at the moment in every direction. and the grade has been consistently high grade throughout every one of those resources. And in the last quarter and this quarter, you'll have seen as well that the indicated category infill drilling is well underway. We have 95% of everything we've drilled on site, diamond drill core, so we understand the geology very well, we understand the structures very well. It puts it into a very high confidence for us, and you can see there that on the right-hand side, the number of drill meters that we've drilled into this project. So we're going to be nearing close to 300,000 metres on this project later on this year. So very high confidence level, and we expect this to continue growing. The board of directors, there's only 3 at the moment. However, you will be seeing 2 independent non-executives joining the board now that we're an ASX 300 company, and this is going to be happening over the next few weeks. And you may see a 3rd person joining later in the year as we move the project into the development stage. We'll leave with Kevin Tomlinson, our non-executive chairman, who's got a long track record of being involved in funding projects through discoveries, through to building mines and into production. So we're over the moon to have Kevin on the board for us. And Mike Naylor joins the board as well as our CFO and co-sec, and has a long history of that. But one of the exciting things about building, not just the exploration growth, but building the team as we move to the next stage. So we're over the moon to have Luke Gleeson join us, as I was saying before, from Northern Star and his track record there. We're also over the moon to have Craig Jones join us as the Chief Operating Officer at Christmas last year. So he's just been on the roll for a few months now. And he's going to be seeing us, directing us now through the exciting phase of the dewatering, getting underground, and moving the project to the next stage of into development and ultimately production. Sam Brooks, our chief geologist, has been with us since day one, a long track record of discoveries, and again we see exploration as a real key part of our business. And of course, we will continue to explore and add ounces and grow the resource. And of course, we've also, as we grow the business into the next stage, we're very fortunate to have Dana join us as well, who's head of people and company culture. And so we'll be looking to build the team around the executive management team to take us to the next stage of Bellevue Gold. And so of where we're located, we're in Western Australia in the Goldfields region. It's a major gold producing district that everyone will be familiar with. We're very fortunate, as Luke was just saying before, with some of the big mines, Archean lode systems that surround us, such as Goldfields and St Barbara, we have Northern Star and Saracen, all very, very close. We're fortunate, as I said before, that we have granted mining licences, and again, we're very fortunate in the fact that we have a lot of infrastructure right next door to us as well. So we have a major mining town, only 30 kilometres drive from this main sealed Goldfields highway as well, and we're only a few hours north of the main mining hub of Kalgoorlie. So we have all the right ingredients to get the project up and running in a very, very rapid time frame. And again, one of the real key attributes that we have here on the project, we're very fortunate in the fact that the mine produced nearly 1 million ounces of gold at a fairly impressive 15 grams per tonne up until when it closed down in 1997. And what was left behind was 28 kilometres of underground development that sits there with 3 shafts and decline and the likes as well. So we see this as a massive benefit for the company. We've been dewatering since January of this year. We're currently down to almost 200 metres below surface with the dewatering. I was underground last week with Luke. Things are looking fantastic. We expect to get some information out to the market over the next few months as we move that water table down further and get us ready so that we can drill from underground. And the cost advantage to that is huge as we get to drill out the ore bodies ready for development, moving it through to the economic studies, and of course the access, being able to access mineralisation in a much quicker time frame than starting from development from surface is obviously huge for us. So we see this as a massive benefit. The project, as we've said before, classic Archean lode gold system. It's multiple lodes. They're all very high grade and all very consistent. We have a series of westerly dipping lodes with silica quartz, multiple veined zones with gold and multiple events as well. And what we see is these cross-cutting flat lodes that link the vertical structures, and of course these are very much open as well. So one of the things to take away from this cross section that goes through the ore body from west to east there, you can see the multiple lodes outcropping from surface. So as I said previously, we expect to see high-grade open pit material and then moving into high-grade underground ultimately. But you can see the light brown colour is the only areas that we've drilled on to date, and the dark brown colours, there is literally no holes in those areas. So we expect to see this resource continuing to grow. We expect to see further steeper structures, and we expect to see further linking high-grade structures as well as we grow this resource in 2020 and through to 21 as well. And so this is a long section through the ore body now, marked up in the gold colour, looking from south on the left-hand side to north on the right-hand side. You can see the multiple lodes that we've got there, very much open to the north and south. And then most recently, we've announced the Deacon Discovery marked up in the blue colour there. This sits over about a 900 metre area in resource strike length. It's very much open up dip and open down dip, and north and south. And so, of course, you can see where we're going to be growing this resource over the next little while. And the focus over the last 2 quarters, this quarter and the previous one, has not just been on exploration step out, but we've also had the infill drilling going on as well. And remembering that this is all diamond drill course, a very high confidence level we have with the geology and understanding. We've been taking our drill spacings down to 40 by 40 metre drill pattern and 40 by 20 metre drill pattern as well in places. And you can see here on this image, the yellow shows all the areas of the resources, and the red areas are the areas that we've now pretty much completed for the indicated drilling, and we expect to come out with our maiden indicated category coming out in the next couple of months, first half of this year. And from there, you will then see the yellow areas starting to come into indicated category as we move the drilling over to those areas and have further indicated category coming out in the second half of the year. And not only that, you'll also see the resources growing as well. So Deacon Lode, which sits in the footwall, only a couple hundred metres away from the main Bellevue ore body. This is an image of Deacon sitting here. As I said before, it's a 900 metre strike on the resource area that's marked up in blue. And you can see it's very much open north and south. And, you know, to try and get your heads around the sense of scale, and here we have a scale bar on the left-hand side with the 500 metres. You can see this is a very big mineralised system with a whole bunch of highly conductive EM conductors, which are yet to be drill tested. So we're super excited by this, and you will see Deacon growing substantially over the next 6, 12, 18 months. So everything we've just talked about, you know, is only a very, very small part of our whole overall project. So we've got almost 3,500 square kilometres of tenure on our project area, of which this slide here only shows a very small part of that, the 20 kilometre strike to the north. And everything we've talked about to date sits in that small oval marked up in red. So that's where the resources to date have all come from. That's where the next resource will come from, and probably the next resource after that as well as we grow the resources. And that's where the mine is located. However, the 20 kilometre strike to the north, we're super excited about. The last 6 months, we've undertaken a bunch of surface EM work. We've done soil sampling, we've done geological mapping, and we have an RC drill rig on site as we speak, targeting a couple of these areas to the north. So we're hoping to come out with some good news flow on that over the next few weeks and couple of months, as well as we look to find the next Bellevue on our project. So I know we're sort of running out of time shortly, but I'll hand over to Luke to sort of finish things off for us.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. And just to give a quick look, I think one of the things that you'll see from us at Bellevue this year, and you've seen it already with regards to news flow, the market likes when you deliver on your achievables. So to look at what we've announced to date and what we said we'd announce, we've achieved two goals already this year with the infill drilling released earlier this year in February. We also announced the high-grade Deacon Discovery that Steve spoke to, 410,000 ounces at 12.3 grams that sat in the, I guess, the footwall of the deposit. To Steve's point, don't certainly underestimate the size and scale of what we found at Deacon. It looks like a potential analogue, certainly, to the Bellevue Discovery itself and the Bellevue lode. You'll see, obviously, due mid-year, our first indicated resource, and I certainly think that will put a stamp on this asset as a mine in the eyes of the market, and we're certainly looking forward to releasing those figures to market. Further updates on the dewatering and further step-out drilling you'll see, and also some economic study work that's been conducted. Craig Jones, I worked with Craig at Northern Star for a good 3 years, and a fantastic operator. Craig's charged with providing that work, and he's doing a fantastic job. So in terms of just looking at time, Laura, it might be best to hand back to questions.
Thank you so much, Steve and Luke. Some questions have come through over the last couple of minutes or so. January 2018, obviously, you started drilling, and you have seen rapid growth on the Bellevue project since. Someone wants to know if there's any update in particular to drilling below the lake to the south on one of the maps that you had up in an earlier slide.
So all the drilling to date at the moment, we've been drilling in to the north of the Bellevue deposit, and we're drilling in the hanging wall and the footwall lodes. That's where all the resource growth has come from to date, and that's where we're continuing to drill at the moment. We expect to be drilling south later this year, and we will continue drilling north as well. But at the moment, we can see continued resource growth at the same rate of knots as what we've been having in the areas that we're drilling on at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And you said recently that you believe the Bellevue project is moving to Tier 1 status. What factors give it that status?
Oh, I think in terms of, we certainly said the location of the project is a Tier 1 jurisdiction. It's a good question, Laura, with regards to that. If you look at some work that some of the BHP analysts did on what you class as a Tier 1 discovery, everyone likes to bandy around the term. You're typically looking at a net present value of north of $250 million for a classification. Different people have got understandings of that. We obviously haven't released any economics on the project work to date. That work's been done, but certainly at 2.2 million ounces and 11.3 grams, the asset's coming along fantastically well, and we're certainly happy with some of the internal work we're seeing in terms of the economics. But yeah, certainly a Tier 1 jurisdiction. And yeah, we need to prove to the market it's a Tier 1 discovery. That's an asset that's effectively what we're seeing, and yeah, pretty excited by that.
We've got a couple of eager investors asking questions here. When do you expect to pour the first ounce of gold?
Well, we're rapidly discovering things at the moment. You will have seen a big shift in the way that we're looking at things. It's not just about resource growth. Obviously, that is a real core part of our business, and we'll continue to step out and add ounces, and I'll be expecting to be sitting here this time next year with a much larger resource base as well. However, we are moving towards development production, and so, you know, we haven't come out with those economic study work, but I think you're going to be seeing later this year engineering, economic studies coming out, the dewatering being completed, us drilling from underground in the next few months as well. And, you know, on the back of that, you know, hopefully we've got a quick time frame into production, maybe next year or soon after.
Mm-hmm. And on that production front, obviously it's hard to put an exact cost on it, but any thoughts on the approximate cost to get it into production?
Well, I think on the costs, obviously, we haven't put anything out into the market yet. There's a number of analysts that have obviously know the project very well, and they've put out information on that. And if you go to our website and presentation, it lists out who those analysts are. But, you know, I suppose one of the key things is that being high grade projects are typically low cost projects, with both in capital and in operating costs. So we'll be expecting to see, the plant size, very manageable plant size. It's in a very good jurisdiction. You'll be seeing, things that are actually quite manageable for us as a company, and certainly not looking at, as Luke said earlier, these more typical, very large, very low grade type deposits that require very high capex numbers. So, we're very fortunate in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly a huge advantage, Laura, in terms of the capital intensity of the project with that work that's already been done. So, a very big head start. And to Steve's point, when you're talking size and scale, in terms of tonnes, you don't need to be moving a lot of tonnes with regards to having 11 gram ore body. It's probably another point worth making in terms of CapEx. It's a huge benefit for us that's associated with the project.
Mm-hmm. Steve, we have noted that you recently increased your holding in Bellevue by exercising some options. How important do you think it is for management to have skin in the game?
Oh, hugely important. And look, you know, when if you go back and have a look through when we first started as the team, so, you know, it was a very small team just purely focused on exploration, and you can look at the salaries, you know, they were, you know, almost on the very, very low side of things. And, you know, myself, the exploration team, we all bought shares on market. You know, we've all exercised options the whole way up. You know, Luke here has joined us, you know, the first day he joined us, buying on market. So, you know, it's really important for the team to, you know, to actually be, you know, right in on this and believe it and be a part of it.
To really be in it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Great to hear from Bellevue.
Great, thanks very much.
Thanks, Laura.
And thank you everyone for being on the call today. We'll see you soon in a couple of minutes with our next presentation for the day.